All right, guys, welcome to lesson number 30, 31, and 32, where we left off for Algebra 1. This is a good one to maybe do by video because there will be some word problems, so we don't have to write maybe quite as much. Algebraic phrases, if you read through this right here, it's going to tell you a lot of the phrases to look for and what operation they would represent, like sum is add, and less than means subtract. Opposite would mean a negative sign, product would mean times, things like that. What we were going to be doing in class was maybe make our own list of different keywords that maybe help us out. So if you want to maybe take a look at these or screenshot them, whatever. Adding, you could hear sum, increased by, more than, or greater than. A plus would be kind of an obvious one. But I know some people hear greater than and they might think there is a difference. Greater than means add. Is greater than would mean the greater than symbol, the one that would point to the right. Subtract, the answer to a subtraction problem is called a difference. Just like, adding and subtracting are inverses. So decrease by would mean subtract, less than, or minus. Now I put a little star next to less than because that actually changes the order of that subtraction, and it is important. So if I said 6 less than a number, that would actually be x minus 6, because you want 6 smaller than that number. You want 6 less than a number. So it actually flips the order of the way it's written out. Multiplying, the obvious ones, product, times, or multiplied by. Twice means times 2, but then I put a star next to the word of. If you see the word of, then you're dealing with some sort of percent or fraction problem, and to find a decimal like that, a percent or a fraction, you would multiply. Half of 10 would give me 5. 1/2 times 10. So of is a key word when dealing with fractions. Divide, you'd hear quotient or maybe over because you're dealing with a fraction. Division and fraction, same thing. Exponents, power of, squared, cubed, things like that. And then of course there's going to be some parentheses, and so sometimes the sum and difference might actually mean to put it in parentheses, or you hear the term quantity. But like if I said 6 times the sum of, and you'd put the sum in parentheses because you want to do 6 times that whole thing. So if I said 6 times the sum of a number and 4, it would look like that because you want to do 6 times the entire sum. So that can mean parentheses as well, so you have to be a little bit careful. I made up one here, the sum of 3 times a number and negative 4 multiplied by 5. So if I hear sum, I'm going to put a plus sign. What am I adding? I'm adding 3 times a number, so 3x. So I'm adding 3 times a number, and that's where my plus sign would be, negative 4. So I can put that in parentheses, so I'm doing the sum of 3x and negative 4, and then all that is multiplied by 5 because of the comma. So put a whole thing there, 5 on the outside. That's what that answer would look like. And of course, you probably should rewrite that, or it can be rewritten with one symbol instead of 2. Okay, so that's that, and make sure you read over that. Lesson 32 is going to be the exact same thing, and then it's going to talk about, and we'll come back to that later, when you see the word is, you'll put an equal sign, and then you can just, equal is whatever, and solve the equation at that point. 30b in our book, decimal parts. As you read through those examples, here is our equation there. Same thing as what we had with, with fractions before. Fractional part of a number, this time with a decimal. So the of means multiply, like we just talked about. If you're taking a decimal of a certain number, that's the total amount is going to get, and then that's the part. That's kind of another way to think about it. The decimal times the total equals whatever part you're looking for. Now remember, with a decimal or fraction, if it's less than 1, your number is going to get smaller. So like 0.56 times 100, your number is going to be 56, and it's going to get a lot smaller. If the decimal is larger than 1, like 2 0.4, your number will actually get bigger, will be larger than the original total. Okay, here's two examples that I made up. What is 0.45 of 16? Of means multiply, so all I have to do is 0.45 times 16 to get my answer of 7.2. Again, my answer is smaller because I'm taking less than 1 of the original amount. Okay, what 0.27 of what number? Of means multiply, so 0.27 times x would be my equal sign, 24.1. So to solve this, I would divide by 0.27, and 24.1 divided by 0.27 would give me approximately 89.26. It was a longer decimal than that. But that, again, makes sense because if that's the original total, 0.27 of that will be a lot smaller. Okay, so there's what you should look for in lesson 30. There's the homework, page 127, 1 to 30. So again, make sure you read over that, but those are some key points there. Key points in lesson number 31. Okay, equations with parentheses. Essentially, what all of this is saying, okay, what you should read in that first paragraph is that the distributive property is going to help us get rid of parentheses, and we should do that first, even in equations. So when I have something like this, anytime I see these parentheses, I want to get rid of them first. Notice my second step doesn't have them, by using the rainbow or distributing. So 4 times 3x is 12x. Distribute that 4 in there. 4 times 2 makes that plus 8 to go with the minus 4. And on this side, again, distribute the negative. Make sure it's a plus now, because a negative 8 and a negative 7 make a positive 56. Now, what I did not show in this problem was exactly where that came from, but here these two are like terms, so 8 minus 4 gives me positive 4. Then what I did here was I knew the x's had to get on the same side, so I added 8x to cancel it out and bring it over here. And 12 plus 8 is 20x. Then I had this 4, and I wanted to move it to the other side because now I want to solve for x. So to get rid of a plus 4, I used a minus 4. And 56 minus 4 is positive 52. So my answer is 52 divided by 20, because I wanted to get that x by itself. And 52 divided by 20 can be reduced to 13 over 5 because they're both divisible by 4. Okay, other things to be aware of: when parentheses are preceded by a negative sign, like right there or right there, make sure that that negative sign is going to be distributed. Why is that? Well, again, this minus sign means subtract. I don't want to subtract just the x. I want to subtract this entire number that's being represented here. So I have to subtract the x and the negative 6. And same thing down here. This entire thing is negative, not just the first part of it. So you will have to distribute. So again, you can see an example of one here. Distribute, so it's a minus x and two negatives make a plus 6. That's the key step here. And here you can distribute that plus. That doesn't change anything. The x and the 4 is still positive. On the same side, combine like terms. It makes 2. 14 and 6 makes 20. On opposite side, I'm going to add x over here. X plus x is 2x. Subtract 2 over to there. 20 minus 2 is 18. And divide by 2 to get my answer of 9. If I'm going too fast, remember it's a video. You can, of course, slow it down and rewatch it as many times as you need to. If you still have questions, definitely email or text or call me up, and I can help you out. So again here, distribute the negative sign, so not only a negative 4y, but two negatives. This is now a positive 17. Two symbols here you can kind of distribute, make them down into 1. Okay, positive times a negative is a negative y. And then over here, again, two negatives can become one positive y. On the same side, negative 4y and negative 1y make negative 5y. 2y plus one more y make 3y. And now I got to get these y's on the same side. So I added 5y over here because I needed to cancel that one out. 3 plus 5 is 8. I added the 1 over to this side to make 18. And I divided by 8. And again, 18 divided by 8 is the same as 9 over 4 when I reduce it. Okay, so there's my assignments. Again, lesson 32. Here's 31. And here's 32. And lesson 32, we're not even need to go over anything because it's word problems, just like the problem we did before, but with the word is, that's going to be our equal sign and then solve. So you can read through that on your own. We don't need to do that. So we'll see you on Tuesday. Let me know if you have questions, please. Have a good weekend.